Furious Driving, proud to be supported by Bidding Classics, the online classic car marketplace with more cars added every week. Diamond Bright, protecting, cleaning and caring for the Furious fleet and for yours with 10% off using code FD10. And Lancaster Insurance cover the Furious fleet. They are one of the biggest specialist insurers in the UK, covering all areas of vintage to modern classic cars and motorbikes. Follow the links in the description below. Welcome to Furious Driving. It's another day doing my favouriteest thing in the whole wide world, welding. Yeah, the Crown Vic is still very much an ongoing project. People have been commenting, when are you going to do more stuff on the Crown Victoria? To be honest, I hate welding so much, so I have been doing bits and pieces in the meantime. It doesn't look any different from here, but I've done a small amount. And in this video, we are going to do a bit more to try and get us to the point where we can put the outer sill on the driver, sorry, passenger side, it's American, on the passenger side, but there's a few more underpinning bits which need to be taken care of before we get onto the outer skin. There's a lot of rust in this thing, but before we get into that, let's have a look around at the drive. The drive has had a bit of a change around in terms of what's out here. The Rover 75 is still here. I haven't reached a decision about selling that, but I've got a couple more little things to do to that car. The Alpha, amazingly, passed its MOT. So yeah, that's quite cool. What I tend to do is have a few cars on the drive that are taxed and MOT'd and ready to go that I can actually use, and then move things over to the barn and take them off tax for a little while. As this happened mid-month, the stuff that's in the barn is still taxed obviously, but the Volvo has shifted over to the barn. What else was just there? Mini's over in the lockup. I don't know, stuff just moved all over the place. Anyway, Alpha, incredibly, went through its MOT with just standard advisories that they used to cover themselves, oil leak, corrosion on chassis. They always put that on there to cover their own butts. But yeah, this thing just went through. Naturally, of course, got back from the MOT and I was just got out of the car and looked around the back of, well, I went to go and put something in the boot and noticed that the tail light had gone a bit sort of slightly wonky, and I stupidly prodded it and this happened, and it decided to reward the MOT pass by, well, basically the plastic fracturing away from the bolts that go through the boot lid, and so the tail light fell off. So rather than disturb the bolts, which are fixed in fairly permanently, I just cleaned up the bolt heads, cleaned up the little sockets that they're moulded into in the lamp cluster itself, used a whole load of JB weld, and it seems to have glued itself back in fairly permanently. So hopefully that'll stay where it is and I won't need to buy a new lamp. Fingers crossed. So far so good on that one. Meanwhile, at cashier number 3, we've got the Rover 420 GSI Tourer, which I was adamant I was going to sell at the end of the last video. Someone did actually message me, and I'm sorry I've not replied to you yet about this, saying they were quite interested in buying it. I'm having a little think about what to do about this, because people had variously over the last few months said, why don't I take the 420, the car with no name, over to the place that painted Quentin the convertible, because they did a really good job for an astonishingly low price. And I've actually been in touch with the guy who's got Quentin, because it went to a friend of mine who then sold it a few months later on to someone else who's had it down in the southeast for, well, ever since, actually about a year and a half now I think he's had it. I said, how's the paint holding up? Is it still looking good? Because I've not used that paint shop before, and he said it's still tip top. So I took him over, I took him, this one, her, whatever I want to call it, this car over for a quote at that place, and they gave me a really good quote, including cutting out this rot, putting fresh metal in just there, bare metaling the rear of the car because that's, you know, surface rust coming through, so we don't want anything poking through. Talking about doing a proper job on this thing for an astonishingly good price, and I kind of feel like I have to do that because it would just transform the car so much. Not in terms of value, as I've said in a previous video about this car, if I sold it I would get back what I paid for it, but it would just make the car so good. It would make it such a nice car at that point. I kind of feel like I need to do that. I might just contact the person who said they're interested in buying the car and see if they'd be willing to pay more for a lovely looking car rather than a rotten looking car. The trouble with the Rover R8s is there's still not huge value in them. So even the best ones are only a couple of £1,000s. Oh, well, butterflies. So even one that's in amazing condition is what, £3,000 or £4,000. And so one that's looking really scabby like this, well, basically it's worth not very much indeed, and it's at risk of being broken for parts. If it falls in the wrong hands, game over for a car that's otherwise very good. So yeah, making it look nice would just serve to save this car for the future a little bit more. So even if the person I sold it to had great intentions for it, they might need to sell it unexpectedly, and then it could go on to someone else. You know, you've got to think long term about these things. When it comes to cars like this, I kind of feel like I'm more of a custodian than an owner. I'm looking after it for the future as much as owning it for myself. So you've got to think these things through. Anywho, right, we should probably get on with the Crown Victoria. In the meantime, I just want to say a quick one more thing. Hopefully, if you're watching this channel, you are a fan of the channel. Hopefully you've already liked this video and you've liked many previous ones and you've already subscribed to the channel. If you haven't, please do hit the subscribe button right now, because there are lots of things I want to do on this channel, including painting this red car. The one thing that holds me back from getting things done is basically the size of the channel. And because it's under 100,000 subs, we don't earn, I don't earn a huge amount of money from this. If the channel grew a little bit more, we get a little bit more ad revenue from YouTube, then we could jump a little bit more feet first into the projects, because YouTube will be paying for them a little bit more. Please don't be under the illusion that YouTube pays you an absolute fortune, because it really doesn't. But there's a lot of fun stuff I want to do, and it's just a matter of my credit card not stretching quite far enough to do it, and that's why things don't get done. So a thing you can do for absolutely nothing is hit subscribe. If you like the channel, if you liked any of the videos, please do share them on Facebook, Twitter, Threads, Instagram, whatever, and that just brings more people to the channel, more views, and that means we can get more stuff done. If you feel like you want to help the channel more directly, we've got Patreon, we've got channel memberships, and of course we've got the shop, furiousdriving.co.uk, with all merchandise stuff, which is all, not just t-shirts and hats, there's a whole bunch of stuff on there. Key rings, magnets, stickers, all available on that shop as well. And of course the Amazon affiliate link. If you're going to shop on Amazon at all this week, just hit the Amazon affiliate link first, and if you buy anything else on Amazon, that still kicks back a few pennies, and it all adds up, so you can buy stuff for these cars, including sheet metal for the Crown Victoria. Oh, and in one more, true Columbo style, one more thing. Joining the Furious Driving shop as we speak. I've got to go and stick this on a computer and take a photo in a moment. We've now got sparkly stickers. We've got on the outside of cars. We should have inside stickers on the store as well. I think we're out of stock of inside stickers, but I'm contacting my makey people to make some more. But we've got the outside ones right now in stock as we speak. Cool, huh? Great on a laptop, great in a car. Now, some of these jobs look like nothing, but they are actually quite time consuming. First of all, I have been busily grinding back these spot welds that I put through this first layer of metal into the side of the car. This needs to be flush fitting because the outer sill is going to be going on top of that, and there is quite a few hours of grinding on this in order to get this down to a point where it's going to work as a whole. Secondly, cutting back the ends of the sills, well, not the sills themselves, these inner panels that go behind the wings. These need to be squared off and new metal put in. And finally, I've found yet more rust lurking here in the bottom of the leading edge of the inner wing. So I need to put a new base bit into this as well. It never ends. This is actually a really thick metal, surprisingly thick metal. I was thinking I'd use a light gauge steel just here, but it's actually, again, like tank gauge, like a Sherman. You could use that for bulletproofing. I don't know if this is the same grade of steel as you would find on like a town car or regular civilian version, or if it's just a police spec thing, but this is so insanely thick. I was going to buzz this back with a wire brush and get it back to some shiny metal, and then cut out a bit of new shiny metal, which is going to take a fair bit of bending, to be fair. Surface, this is neutralised rust. I think it's the VHT brand stuff I used. That's worse than when I started. I think I'm going to put a straight edge across there because that'll be easier to deal with. Now the problem I have here is I don't actually know what shape this was meant to be. I don't know if it's carried on that line just there, if it went straight down, if it cut in more sharply, or what. It's a bit of a mystery. I don't know if it's meant to carry on roughly straight, or it's meant to curve up, or I don't know. I'm going to get inventive, I guess. I might just put a nice little curve on it, like that. Right, okay, so got yourself a nice weirdly shaped bit of metal which is nicely butted up against there. That is 90% of the battle, is getting the two edges butted up nice and tight. Otherwise you're not going to get a decent weld. There we go. Whacked up a couple more points of power because this is really thick metal and that seems to be doing the trick. Right, there we go. Now got a bit of whatever the hell you call this bit of the car, this front inner wing area. Right, so I've slapped a bit of rust through, weld through primer on there. Now I need to go and deal with the bit underneath there, which is looking less fun. Oh, battery. Forgot the battery. Right, oh, okay, so we kind of got square edges apart from that little weird shape just there, which is my own fault because I cut a V into this repair panel and pulled it out and didn't think about that until now. Now I'm going to regret that. The thing about making bits of metal that are weird shapes is very weird shapes, and you can't always get the cardboard up behind it. After about 20 minutes, half an hour of severe faffage, I've finally concluded I need to take off like that thick marker pen's worth of metal around this entire edge to make this a snug fit. This is just so slow. God, I hate metalworking. Right, it's in there roughly. Let's sap it all up and make it be pretty or something. Well, not pretty, at least part of the car. So massive thank you to James at Nitro Silver for recommending this mask to me, which I picked up at the NEC about a year and a half ago. It's an absolute godsend for getting into awkward tight places where you've got to weld. One day I might even be half decent at this. No time soon though. Just get a couple of spot welds in there, then it won't fall out. Oh, I forgot to paint. Oh, you numpty. Ow. Okay, those are good spot welds. I can't get it out again. I forgot to paint, what do you call it? Weld through zinc on the back of it so it will rust instantly. Those spot welds are really quite good. Turns out maybe not too bad this after all. Damn it. It's on a big screwdriver. Right, second time lucky. Watching amazement as I now can't do anywhere near as good a job as I did last time. Done it again, I need to trim that. Right, so this corner is now done after a lot of welding, a lot of grinding. Just need to whack a bit of rust-proof under seal and some seam sealer over this, and we've now got a really quite heavy-duty little corner down here. So that's all good news. All I need to do now is kind of repeat this process down the other end of the sill. Where's the metal going? I'm not eating the metal. And then I can move on to putting the actual outer sill on, which is going to be a mammoth task. Yeah, silly hat in full effect because it's quite bright out here and I don't like sunstroke, UV and sunburn and skin cancer. So yay, go skin cancer. So yeah, this has taken a while. This is a huge job and it is a slow job as well. People have been wondering why I've not been putting updates out every couple of days, and to be honest, it would be really boring if I just did this much welding every 2 days and put it into a video. No one will watch it. I'm bored doing it. You'd be bored watching it as well. So next installment, hopefully I'll get the back end version of this all sorted out. I don't know how long that will take because looking at that looked quite bad as well. This is like a solid day's work well, for someone who welds at my speed anyway, putting all of this stuff together. So it's probably going to be another solid day putting that rear quarter back together as well. So this is surprisingly slow, and also I'm burning through my heavy gauge steel stock at quite an alarming rate as well, because this thing is made of such heavy duty metal. Whenever I repair a European car, I'm using way thinner steel than this. This is all whack the welder up as high as it will go and blast it in there. So yeah, this is exciting times. So anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this latest instalment, seeing what's going on, bringing this slowly back to the road. When this first happened, people did sort of offer to crowdfund to pay for a professional welder, and I did kind of completely poo-pooed the idea, because I don't want to be the receiving end of charity. There's far more worthwhile charity than me out there. But as I'm going on, I'm starting to think, do you know what, maybe getting a professional welder in wouldn't be such a bad idea, because I'm losing so many hours to doing this. But anyway, it's all good content, as they say. Or is it? Are you bored of watching me weld now? Would it be better to just get a welder in, get them to do it in a day, and be done, and get the car back on the road again, which will be far more pleasant. Anyway, you know the drill. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, bell notification, links in the description for the advertisers and everything else. So yeah, blah, blah. I'm going to clear up and cook some dinner now, because it's getting late. See you later. Goodbye.